Omnivincible is one of the most terrifying versions of Mark Grayson from Invincible number 60. In his universe, Mark killed Omni-Man and took control of Earth, believing peace could only come through domination. He ruled as a tyrant, creating armies of Viltrumite hybrids and expanding his empire across galaxies. When Angstrom Levy opened portals to recruit alternate Marks, Omnivincible joined to conquer the multiverse. He led the first major strike during the Invincible War, destroying cities and overpowering heroes with godlike strength. But when he met Primarch, the version who still had empathy, he was finally defeated and killed in orbit. Omnivincible represents what Invincible becomes when compassion dies, a god who saves worlds by enslaving them. Broken Mark comes from a universe where Atom Eve was killed during a Viltrumite attack, first hinted in Invincible number 60 through 65. Her death shattered him completely. Without Eve, Mark lost his purpose, turning his grief into destruction. He stopped saving people and began killing villains, then anyone who opposed him. When Angstrom Levy recruited alternate Marks, Broken Mark joined, not for conquest, but to die fighting. During the Invincible War, he brutally attacked both enemies and allies before Primarch defeated him. This version never became a villain out of greed, only heartbreak. Broken Mark shows what happens when Invincible's greatest strength, his love, becomes the very thing that destroys him. Viltrum-Invincible. Viltrum-Invincible comes from a timeline where Mark fully embraced his Viltrumite heritage and completed Omni-Man's mission to conquer Earth. First seen in Invincible number 60 in 2008 during the multiversal invasion, this Mark never developed human empathy. He exterminated most of Earth's resistance, ruling alongside surviving Viltrumites and turning the planet into a breeding ground for new warriors. When Angstrom Levy opened the portals, Viltrum-Invincible joined without hesitation, eager to expand the Empire beyond his universe. In battle, he was one of the strongest versions, tearing through heroes like paper until Primarch and Alan the Alien brought him down. Viltrum-Invincible represents what Mark could become if he accepted strength without mercy, proof that the line between hero and conqueror is thinner than it looks. Prisonvincible appears during the Invisible War arc in Invincible number 60 in 2008, a version of Mark who lost everything after being captured by his world's government. In his universe, he was arrested after refusing to serve the Viltrum Empire and spent years locked away in a high-security facility. His body was starved, tortured, and experimented on to study Viltrumite DNA. When Angstrom Levy freed him, he didn't fight for a cause, he fought out of rage. Prisonvincible's style was brutal and feral, tearing through enemies with no control or strategy, but his trauma made him unstable. During the war, he was killed by another variant after refusing to follow orders. Prisonvincible is a reminder that even gods can break when the world chains them too tightly. Flexansible. Flexansible comes from a universe where the Flaxans, the alien race constantly invading Earth in Invincible number 5, actually won. Captured during one of their invasions, this version of Mark was brainwashed and genetically modified into a Flaxan warlord. Years of conditioning erases humanity, turning him into the ultimate weapon of their empire. When Angstrom Levy opened his portals, the Flaxans sent their prized commander, Flexansible, to lead their army into the multiverse. His armor fused Viltrumite strength with Flaxan strength, making him one of the hardest hitting variants during the Invincible War in Invincible number 60 2008. However, when Primarch killed him, his final words hinted at lingering regret, proof that somewhere inside the alien general, the hero still existed. Mavenhawk. Mavenhawk, also known as the Mohawk Invincible, comes from an alternate Earth where Mark becomes a hardened survivor after years of non-stop war. Introduced during Invincible number 60 in the chaos of the multiversal invasion, this version stood out instantly. Leaner, scared, and supporting a rough Mohawk that symbolized rebellion. His world had fallen into ruins after endless Viltrumite battles, forcing him to evolve into a ruthless guerrilla fighter. Unlike most variants, Mavenhawk wasn't driven by domination or grief, just survival. Armed with scavenged alien weapons, he fought with unmatched ferocity, taking down both heroes and villains before Primarch overpowered him. His death was brutal but quick, showing that even among gods, experience and grit can't always outmatch pure heart and hope. Heirvincible. Heirvincible, the long-haired version of Mark, appears in Invincible number 60, one of the more visually distinct variants in the Invincible War. This Mark comes from a future timeline where years of fighting the Viltrumite Empire turned him into a wandering warrior. His long unkempt hair and worn-down uniform symbolize exhaustion more than vanity. He's a veteran of endless wars. Unlike most versions, Heirvincible doesn't fight out of ideology, he fights out of habit, believing battle is all he knows. During the multiversal war, he showcased insane endurance, holding off multiple heroes at once before being overpowered by Prime Mark. Heirvincible represents the version of Invincible who never got to rest. A hero so consumed by duty, he forgot what peace felt like. Goggles-Vincible. Goggles-Vincible first appears in Invincible number 60 and instantly stands out with his high-tech combat goggles, designed to enhance vision and track energy signatures mid-battle. This version of Mark comes from a technologically advanced Earth, where he worked alongside the Global Defense Agency, relying heavily on strategy and data instead of raw power. Unlike most variants who fought recklessly, Goggles-Vincible approached combat like a soldier, analyzing opponents before striking. During the Invincible War, he coordinated aerial attacks, taking down several heroes using precise targeting and enhanced senses. However, despite his intelligence and discipline, Prime Mark overpowered him in close combat, proving that no amount of tech could outmatch pure instinct. Goggles-Vincible symbolizes Mark's tactical side, the version that fights smart, not just strong. Capvincible. Capvincible is one of the most recognizable variants from the Multiversal War. Clad in a militarized costume topped with a patriotic cap, this version of Mark Grayson comes from a world where he served as Earth's official protector, operating like a government soldier rather than an independent hero. He's disciplined, loyal, and battle-hardened, treating heroism as duty, not passion. Unlike Prime Mark, who often questions authority, Capvincible follows orders without hesitation, a reflection of what Invincible might have become if molded by military control. During the Invincible War, he led coordinated ground assaults using formation tactics and heavy strikes, even briefly overpowering Atom Eve's counterparts. But when Prime Mark confronted him, Capvincible hesitated, duty clashing with conscience, and that moment of doubt cost him the fight. He embodies the obedient hero archetype, showing that power without personal conviction is just another uniform. Nomaskible. Nomaskible is one of the most emotionally grounded versions of Mark. Unlike most variants, he fights without his mask, a symbolic rejection of the hero identity altogether. This Mark comes from a world where revealing his identity to the public shattered his personal life, costing him everything he loved. Without the mask, he's not hiding, he's accepting his mistakes. In the Invincible War, Nomaskible fought with ruthless precision, showing no hesitation or restraint. His face was uncovered, not out of pride but defiance, a man tired of pretending to be a symbol. Eventually, Prime Mark defeated him in brutal combat, and Nomaskible's final words implied regret rather than hatred. He represents the version of Invincible's stripped bare. No mask, no hope, just the truth of who Mark Grayson really is beneath the hero image. Mask Invincible. Appearing in Invincible number 60, Mask Invincible represents the most traditional version of Mark Grayson, the one who never changed from his original heroic image. He wears the full yellow and blue uniform with the signature visor mask, the classic Invincible look from his early days. This Mark's world never pushed him towards cynicism or war. He stayed idealistic, fighting purely for justice. However, in the Invincible War, that optimism becomes his downfall. While trying to reason with his brutal counterparts, he's overwhelmed by their sheer violence and forced into survival mode. He fights valiantly, but ultimately can't match the ruthless efficiency of the darker Invincibles. Mask Invincible embodies the what-if scenario. What if Mark had never been hardened by tragedy? He's the hopeful part of the multiverse, the version who still believes heroes can win without becoming monsters. Mustachible. Mustachible, first seen in Invincible number 60, is one of the most intimidating Mark variants, essentially a version who's fully embraced by his Viltrumite heritage. With a look eerily close to Omni-Man, complete with the mustache and battle-worn armor, this Mark represents what happens when he stops fighting his father's ideology and becomes the conqueror he was born to be. On his Earth, Mustachible led a successful Viltrumite campaign, enslaving entire worlds in the name of order. During the Invincible War, he fought like a seasoned general, commanding other variants with brutal precision and overpowering several heroes before finally being confronted by Prime Mark. Their battle was one of the bloodiest of the event, a clash between humanity and destiny. Mustachible embodies Mark's darkest path, the point where he stops being Earth's protector and becomes its destroyer. Hoodvincible makes his first appearance in Invincible number 60 and instantly stands out with his black hood and stealth-style costume, a version of Mark who's chosen to work from the shadows instead of the skies. On his Earth, he rejected both heroism and Viltrumite's conquest after witnessing too many civilian deaths caused by superhuman wars. Instead, he became a rogue vigilante, striking quietly, avoiding attention, and taking down threats before they ever reached the spotlight. During the Invincible War, Hoodvincible operated as an assassin-type fighter, ambushing heroes with surgical precision before disappearing again. However, his stealth meant little against Prime Mark, who caught him mid-attack and put him down quickly. Hoodvincible represents Mark's guilt-driven version, a man so scarred by past failures that he hides from the very symbol he once embodied. Bulletproofable. Bulletproofable, introduced in Invincible number 60, is one of the rare variants who didn't fall into villainy. On his Earth, Mark Grayson never existed. Instead, his friend Zandali Randolph, known as Bulletproof, took up the Invincible mantle. This version wears a black and yellow suit and shares similar Viltrumite level powers, but his origins are grounded in science, not alien heritage. During the Invincible War, Bulletproofable fought to protect civilians instead of attacking them, even rescuing people from the destruction caused by other Marks. His sense of justice mirrored Prime Mark's morality, making him one of the few variants who didn't lose his humanity. In the comics, he later becomes Invincible's successor after Mark retires, in Invincible number 100 through 108. Bulletproofable represents hope, proof that not every Invincible has to be corrupted by power. Lightblue-Invincible appears briefly during the Invincible War in Invincible number 60 and stands out immediately for his distinct light blue suit, a sleek redesign of the traditional yellow and blue uniform. This version hails from a world where Invincible worked directly with the Guardians of the Globe, adopting the lighter suit as a symbol of unity and peace rather than dominance. Unlike most variants, Lightblue-Invincible avoided brutal tactics, focusing instead on defense and evacuation during the war. However, when faced with the ruthless Viltrumite variants, his mercy became his undoing. He was quickly overwhelmed and killed mid-air. He may not have been the strongest, but Lightblue-Invincible represented a rare glimpse of Mark's idealism, a version who fought not to win, but to protect. Strikevincible, seen during the Invincible War in Invincible number 60, is one of the most visually striking variants. His suit features bold yellow stripes running across the chest and arms, symbolizing rank and authority. This version comes from a world where Invincible became the leader of a global peacekeeping force, an organized, militarized version of superheroes united under his command. Unlike Prime Mark, Strikevincible values discipline over emotion, treating heroism like a tactical operation. During the multiversal conflict, he led several Invincible variants in coordinated air assaults, showing sharp leadership and precision. However, his calculated fighting style couldn't match Prime Mark's raw unpredictability, and he was ultimately defeated. Strikevincible represents the Commander archetype, a Mark who mastered control but lost the heart that made him human. Capvincible, seen in Invincible number 6, stands out as the version of Mark who fully embraced the classic superhero image, cape, stance, and all. On his world, Mark leaned heavily into the traditional symbol of hope, inspired by heroes like Omni-Man and even Superman. He believed being a hero wasn't just about saving people, it was about looking like one. During the Invincible War, Capvincible fought valiantly but overconfidently, often prioritizing dramatic moves over survival. He engaged multiple heroes head-on, using fight precision and mid-air control to gain the upper hand, but his lack of strategy cost him. Eventually, he was overwhelmed by coordinated counterattacks. Capvincible represents Mark's idealistic side, a version obsessed with the symbol of heroism rather than its harsh reality. Sportvincible, introduced during Invincible number 60, is one of the most physically driven and overconfident variants of Mark Grayson. Unlike most versions who fight for ideology or survival, this Mark treats battle like a competition, a test of dominance. On his world, he became obsessed with pushing his Viltrumite physiology to its absolute limit, turning heroism into a sport. He's faster, bulkier, and more reckless, often charging headfirst into fights to prove he's the strongest version of himself. During the Invincible War, Sportvincible clashed with multiple hero teams, using brutal close combat and aerial speed to overwhelm them. However, his arrogance became his downfall. Overextending in combat, he was swiftly defeated by coordinated strikes. Sportvincible represents Mark's ego unrestrained, a version who fights for glory, not purpose. No Goggles Bill, appearing in Invincible number 60, is a raw and unrefined version of Mark Grayson, one who fights without his signature goggles or mask. On his world, Mark rejected the idea of symbols and costumes entirely. He believed hiding behind a mask made heroes weak, so he dropped it and embraced direct, brutal combat. This Mark relies purely on instinct and physical strength, using no strategy or finesse, just raw Viltrumite aggression. During the Invincible War, No Goggles Bill fought like a wild animal, tearing through opponents with reckless fury and no hesitation. But his lack of defense and planning made him vulnerable, and he was eventually overpowered by coordinated resistance from Earth's heroes. No Goggles Bill embodies the primal side of Invincible, a version stripped out of control, consumed by the fight itself. We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more comic book explainer videos.